If we're lucky, we all grow old. And as we do, we may experience age discrimination. For workers in the prime of their lives, discrimination is a harsh reality. When companies start outsourcing and downsizing and re-engineering, they frequently target the employees with the highest salaries. And once older workers are out of a job, finding another can be extremely difficult. When I worked as a federal investigator at the EEOC, I helped many older workers use this law to prove age discrimination. In this video, I'll share the information you need so you can too. Age discrimination most often strikes older people at the moment of hiring and firing. But before discussing these issues and others, there are a few overarching things to keep in mind. In Babb versus Wilkie, the Supreme Court created two separate standards for establishing age discrimination. Private sector employees must prove age discrimination was the only deciding factor in an employment decision, while personnel actions against federal employees must be free from any taint of age-based differential treatment. State employees are not entitled to any monetary damages for age discrimination when suing under the ADEA, but they may be eligible for damages under state and local laws. Establishing a case for age-based hiring discrimination is exactly the same as proving any hiring case. The employer must know you are at least 40 and qualified for the position, but instead hire a younger applicant who is as qualified or less qualified. If you are not interviewed, establishing that the employer was aware of your age is tough. You can argue that the employer knew you were older because of clues in your resume or application. Dates of graduation from college indicate an applicant's approximate age. A resume with an extensive work history suggests an older applicant. You can also argue your prospective employer learned of your age through a social media search. A Career Builder survey found that 70% of employers use social media to screen candidates during the hiring process. Nearly half of employers would not offer an interview to a candidate they could not find online. Social media accounts like Facebook typically include a current picture of the account holder and frequently birth dates as well. Even the non-existence of social media accounts may be an indication of age, as Instagram and Twitter are more popular among younger people. How can you prevent an employer from knowing your age when applying for a job? Some applicants purposely withhold all dates from resumes to avoid dropping hints about their ages. Of course, nothing exposes an older applicant quicker than a resume without dates. Also, employers have a legitimate reason to know how long you have worked in each position. The alternative, being upfront about your age, has one great advantage. You'll know that the business that does hire you is not patently ageist. For those convinced that their age is keeping them from finding a job, a third possibility is to list dates and experience more selectively. For example, you could list only the dates of employment for positions held during the past decade or two. If you've only had one employer for the last couple of decades, separately list each position held while working for that employer. And do not list dates of attainment for academic degrees. Some employers might ask directly for your age or date of birth during an interview or on an application. This question, while not smart, is not illegal. If you're not hired, you can point to this question as support for an inference of age discrimination, because why would they ask for your date of birth if it wasn't relevant to their decision? Job advertisements that indicate a preference for younger applicants are illegal. Job postings that include maximums for years of experience, phrases such as recent college graduate, and potentially coded words such as energetic or vibrant are likely ADEA violations. Combined with other evidence, a discriminatory job announcement can be extremely persuasive. Generally, to prove age bias, the person hired has to be younger. The successful applicant does not have to be under 40 to establish discrimination. A 5-year age gap is enough to establish a significant age difference. Other than a handful of professions, such as airline pilots, law enforcement officers, and firefighters, age is an unacceptable reason to be denied any job or job-related opportunity. Apprenticeship programs that teach a skill in preparation for advancement cannot refuse applicants because of their age. Temporary agencies are acting discriminatorily if they refuse to refer older people because their clients prefer younger workers. Similarly, being overqualified for a job is suspicious. Being denied a position for having too much training, education, or experience smacks of age bias. If you're finding this information helpful, click the subscribe button so you don't miss out on getting useful information. Discharge cases based on age need to establish the same facts as other discharge cases. The older employee was performing their job as well or better than others. The older employee was discharged while others were not. The employer's reason for the discharge is pretext or false. The true reason for the layoff was age discrimination. As strange as it may seem, the Supreme Court decided that laying off an employee because they earn a higher salary is acceptable, even though older employees usually have higher salaries. The strongest discharge cases based on age involve long-term employees with many years of service. Discharges involving a new, younger boss are also easier to prove. The older the employee, the easier it is to assume discrimination. Except for certain C-suite jobs and certain government jobs like police officers and firefighters, your employer cannot force you to retire at age 65 or any other age. Employers who lay off older employees frequently offer a sum of money in exchange for their agreement not to sue. Agreements that waive the right to sue under the ADEA must meet particular standards to be valid. I'll discuss waivers and settlement agreements in another video. Voluntary early retirement packages can have a minimum age for eligibility, but not a maximum age. Employers can decide how early retirement offers are structured. Employers can offer a fixed amount retirement package or a benefits package based on years of service. Accrual of retirement benefits cannot be stopped or reduced because of age, but an employer can set a limit to the number of years of service or years of participation that are taken into account. If your employer pressures you to accept a voluntary early retirement package, it is, in effect, forcing you to retire. Although they are not required to do so, employers often offer employees additional benefits. Retirement plans, pensions, and life insurance are all employment benefits. Employers must pay an equal amount for these benefits regardless of the age of the employee. If the costs of the benefits are higher because of the employee's age, the employer can reduce the amount of benefits actually provided by a corresponding amount. An employer can require an older employee to pay more for the same benefits provided to a younger employee, but the older employee must pay only enough to cover the difference in cost. Many of the same principles apply to age discrimination as for other bases of discrimination. Slurs about age can create a hostile work environment or establish direct evidence of age discrimination. One key difference is that an employer does not have to prove business necessity when a neutral policy has a disparate impact on employees or applicants who are 40 years or older. Instead, the employer must only establish that the policy was based on a reasonable factor other than age. For a factor to be reasonable, it must be related to the employer's stated business purpose and applied accurately and fairly. The Supreme Court has said seniority can be a reasonable factor other than age, despite the very close correlation between age and seniority. Now you know all about age discrimination. If you'd like to know more about another protected class, like disability, jump now to the appropriate video in this series. Otherwise, check out the video which discusses retaliation. You need to know how to be protected when complaining about discrimination. If you found this video helpful, please click the like button. And if you've experienced age discrimination and have any tips that might be helpful to others, please share them in the comments below. Thanks for tuning in.